Okay, welcome to another video on spelling and how to help you with spelling difficult words. We've talked about some rules for spelling, but we've also talked about how they don't always work because spelling can just be difficult. But there are some tips that we can give you for how to spell those irregular words, and I'd like to take you through them now. The first tip I'll talk about is one that we call know your enemy, which is just knowing what it is about a particular word that makes it difficult to spell. For example, leopard sounds like leopard, but it has this EO in there. If you just know that that's what makes it difficult to spell, that can help you remember it. Same with restaurant. The bit that people always spell wrong is the AUR. If you remember that, then that can help you to spell restaurant correctly. And another one that people often get wrong is 12th. And that's because it's got this FTH at the end, which is very unusual. If you just know that, that can help you to remember. The second tip is one that we call say it the way it's spelt. And this can help with words that sound different to the way we spell them, a bit like leopard, so if you were to say it as leopard. Words that we can use this for include Wednesday, so if we instead say Wednesday, because that's how it's spelled, we might remember that. Another one is definitely, which we say as definitely, but if instead we say definitely, which is how I remember to spell it, we remember that there's a finite in the middle of it. Definitely, definitely spelled correctly. Another one people get wrong quite often is particularly, because we say particularly, but it's spelled particularly. So if you remember that it's spelled particularly, then that might help. Lastly, the word February. February sounds funny because it's got that R sound in the middle of it. So it's Feb. Oh, look at that, I've spelled it wrong. It's February. So if you remember that there's an R there, just where I got it wrong, just to show you, then you'll remember that February is spelt with those two R's. The third tip I'd like to give to you is looking for words within difficult words, and that can help you to remember. For example, the word separate. People often get it wrong because it sounds like separate with an E. But if you remember that there's a rat in separate, then you just apply that rule, a rat, and you'll remember that it's A and A, not E and A. There's a rat in separate. Likewise, believe. A lot of people spell believe wrong because they get the IE incorrect. If you just remember to never believe a lie, then you've got your lie there and you will spell believe correctly. The last tip I'd like to give you is silly little sayings. You might remember some of these from primary school. For example, when you learnt to spell because, some of you might have been told how to remember it, and that is big elephants can't always use small exits. Well, this can be applied to some other words that are difficult to spell. For example, 1 coffee and 2 sugars can help you to always spell necessary correctly. Necessary, because it's got 1 C, 1 coffee and 2 sugars, and that's the bit that people often get wrong. And the last one is a word that is very difficult to spell, and that is rhythm. But if you remember this saying, rhythm helps your 2 hips move, and just take the first letter of each word in the saying, you'll get rhythm helps your 2 hips move. And you'll spell rhythm correctly every time. So hopefully that will help you to remember how to spell all of these difficult words that you'll find in the worksheet. Thank you.